Hey guys, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. You ready for a Stamp-a-Stack adventure? This is video number 1 out of 4 in the Nuts About Squirrels Stamp-a-Stack class. Now the Stamp-a-Stack class videos are entirely free. They'll be on the blog and they're going to premiere Monday, November 1st, followed by Tuesday, November 2nd, Wednesday, November 3rd, and Thursday, November 4th. Now, as these videos are released, I'll link them all together under a segment called Quick Links so that you can navigate through the class quickly. And there is an optional class packet. So you get everything all prepared for you so that you can follow along if you like. To find the class packet, you're going to buzz over to kitchentablestamper.com/shop. That'll bring you to the Kitchen Table Stamper store. Once you're in the store, on the right-hand menu, there's a filter. Click the filter by class packets, and there you'll find Nuts About Squirrel Stamp-a-Stack packets if they're still available. This is our first card in the series. We're going to start with Hope You're Feeling Bright-Eyed and Bushy-tailed, and this Stamp-a-Stack makes 2 of these cards. All right, this is a Wonder Recipe number 6 Stamp-a-Stack, which is a 1-sheet wonder. We're going to cut our paper according to the Wonder Recipe number 6. And this Wonder Recipe will also yield 2 of this Happy Birthday card, 2 of this Hey There card, and 2 of this Nuts About You card. All right, let's get started with our Bright-Eyed and Bushy-tailed card. I'm going to go into my class packet and grab my materials. Let me show you. This is how you receive class packets from Kitchen Table Stamper. They're clear packed. They're labeled with the name of the class and the month and year that you can find it on the blog. I know that sometimes you don't do your classes right away, so I label it so it's easy for you to find the instructions. You get all of your cardstock pieces done for you. So we're looking for this Hope You're Feeling Bright-Eyed and Bushy-tailed. All the labels, circles will be all cut. So let's grab that. You have 2 of each kit, and I can see the little labels through the envelopes. Let me get the right ones. All right, here we go. And inside the class packet, you're going to find your cardstock base. It's scored for you, and your die cut pieces. Envelopes are included, so we need these 2 kits. You also will receive the bumblebee cardstock for your leaves and the vanilla cardstock for your squirrels. We're going to need that. Let's get 1 of each of those. And we've got our embellishments. We're going to leave those in the bag for now. We need our Designer Series paper. You get 1/4 of a pack of the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper. And we need 1 of this pattern. And let's see here. Do I want to shake it up a little bit, or do I want to do them exactly? I don't know. That's such a hard decision. I think I'm going to do them exactly. I love the way they turned out. We need 1 of this pattern, and which yellow one did I use? I used the one that looks kind of like wheat. 1 of this. So you get 2 6x6 sheets of each design, and this is the B sides, those patterns. So a whole 1/4 of a package in there. All right, let's slide aside all of our cardstock bits and grab a paper trimmer and our Wonder Recipe number 6 template. This will be printable on the blog, kitchentablestamper.com. Just follow where it says project details, click here, or Bright-Eyed and Bushy-tailed design number 1, click here. They'll take you to the blog post, and the Wonder Recipe template will be right below the embedded video. Now we need our paper trimmer. Let's grab that. And we're going to cut these into 2x3 squares. Pretty simple. If you've got a paper that's directional, like this one, it clearly grows in this direction. You want to pay attention to that before you cut. And just let me show you here, because we're going to cut all at once. The 2x3 pieces that we used on this design, and this design, and on this design, even though we're not using them on the first design, all go in this direction. So it's the narrow direction is up. So we want to make sure that we're careful when we cut. I'm going to just stack these. We can do 2 at a time. And then these 2, there we go. This one kind of has a bit of a directional pattern too. We want to pay attention to that. We're going to divide this into 3. by 6 and 3 by 6. And then I'm gonna rotate this and cut off 2-inch pieces. We're gonna keep cutting like this until all of our 3 sheets of designer series paper are 3 by 2-inch pieces. And I'm gonna just then use my little grid to keep all the pieces organized. So I'll just lay them on the grid as I cut. So here we go with this one. This is those other 2. I'm gonna cut off 2-inch pieces. There they are. I'm gonna go lay them on the grid. And then our last piece of designer series paper, stack that up, and 2 inches. So here's our 1-sheet wonder. I'm gonna just deal these out to make the sheet. And now the next thing I'll do in a Stamp stack like this is I will take the pieces that I need for each card and put them in the envelopes. We need a blue and a crumb cake for each of these cards. We're just gonna pop them in with our card kits for this project. All right, so these are for Bright-Eyed and Bushy-tailed. Now I'm gonna set these aside for now, and I'll put each piece in at the beginning of each video so you can see which ones we're picking out and which ones we have left. But when I'm doing this as a Stamp stack and making these 8 cards myself, what I would do is cut the paper and then deal out all the paper. All right, so every step you're gonna do kind of in batch work as you're doing a Stamp stack. So that leads me to the next item on our list here. We've got in our kit crumb cake card bases. They're 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. We're gonna go ahead and fold these up. If you're cutting your own kits, all the measurements, all the details will be on the project sheet for you. All right, so we've got we've got our card bases. If I was doing this as Stamp stack, I would do all my card bases at once. So I'll probably pause the video and do that. This is the only video in the series where you'll see me do my background. I'll just refer to it in the other videos. So I've got the Timber 3D embossing folder, and this is our design. So I'm gonna make sure that I emboss with my wood grain going on the card in a landscape orientation. Keep in mind that 4 of your cards have that landscape orientation and 4 of your cards have that portrait orientation. So go ahead and emboss all your card fronts at this point. If you're going to make all 8 cards in the series, if you're doing the wonder recipe, if you're just making one of each or just making this card, of course you can leave that step out and just emboss the one. Got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and to emboss the 3D folder you need 1 and 4. I'm gonna just pop my card in so that the front will be embossed. And what I like to do is put the back of the card in through the machine, lay it on number 1, put number 4 over the top, square everything up so that you don't grate the sides of your folder. You want to make sure that your folder is clear on both sides of the machine, and then give it a crank. And there's our gorgeous Timber 3D. I'm going to pause the video right here and do all of the other 7 card bases. All right, I'm back with my card bases embossed. Gorgeous, right? Let's do some stamping. Let me slide our sample to the side. We're going to get a Stampin' Paris mat and some ink pads. All right, we'll start with the leaves. I've got Bumblebee cardstock here. Now, another thing with this Stamp stack, you're gonna need leaves, lots of leaves. You're gonna need 32. I stamped them and fussy cut them. Of course, you could substitute a small leaf die or a leaf punch. So to keep that in mind, but since we're going to need so many, I'm going to do them all at one time, maybe even the night before I start my Stamp stack. Or substitute out for the cute little punches we had a couple of years ago. That works too. So for this card, we need 5 leaves for each card. So I'm going to stamp those guys and do bumblebee on bumblebee. All right, I've stamped my bumblebee on bumblebee. And what I did was the 10 for this design, and then 9 for the hey there design. We need 10 for that. And then I did 5 and 5 and 5. So I've got plenty of leaves here, and I'm going to do only 1 per video from here on out, just to show how to do the stamping. All right, now I'm going to start with the ones that are dry, and I'm going to take the veins and early espresso and stamp on. Now I found that you get a nicer leaf if you give the base just a little bit of time to dry before you put the early espresso over the top. If you stamp on top of wet bumblebee ink, your branches, the little vein design will spread more. I'm going to fill all these little guys in, and then I'm going to cut them out. All right, there's our leaves. Let's slide these guys to the side and do our little squirrels. Ah, that's the best part. All right, so I've got acorn right here, our little squirrel, and we're going to need 1 for each card. So 1 and 2. This is early espresso. Now for the fill-in, I'm going to use cinnamon cider. Just really take your time to line this up. I like to make a couple of landmark points, so I'll try the ears, the tip of the tail, and then check all the feet before I bring the ink to the paper. I'll also look at the eye, and then once those landmarks all seem to line up, checking each one at a time, then I'll go ahead and stamp. It looks pretty good. But you see, I take my time and hover and check those landmarks. I check the curve of the tail, each of the ears, the eye, and then look along the bottom at each of the feet. When everything looks good, then we stop hovering and we apply the ink. One more time. So cute. All right, let's put our squirrels aside for just a minute, and we're going to go to the die cut and punched pieces from the kit here. Let's get our background and our sentiment label, and we're going to add those stamping right now. All right, if you're cutting your own kit, this is a 2-inch circle punch, and we're using the label from the Ornate Frames, this long skinny sentiment label for our greeting. Greeting is hope you're feeling bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I'm going to ink that in early espresso and stamp it just a little bit off center so you have room for that bow and leaf. Next up, I've got a little modeled background. So we're using Nuts About Squirrels, and the primary images are all from Nuts About Squirrels, but I wanted a little texture right behind my squirrel. So anything that you have will do that'll give you kind of a mottled or spotted background. I've got this one from Gorgeous Leaves that I'm using, and I'm going to stamp off before I stamp on my circles. So let me grab my little grid paper here, pop that underneath. I'm going to use crumb cake on crumb cake. So let's grab one more ink pad. We're almost done stamping here. And I'm going to ink up my model background, stamp off, and then stamp my circle. And then once again, stamp off lightly, stamp my circle. That'll give just a little texture behind our squirrels. All right, let's clear away the ink pads, Stampin' Pierce mat, and get to fussy cutting. All right, so we got our little squirrels here. We affectionately call this one Acorn around the kitchen table, Stamper Craft Social. Oh, all the critters seem to get names, and I like that. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut these guys out. We're gonna leave a small vanilla border and just run your scissors around. Of course, if you have an electronic cutter, you can use that. And I'm going to cut out all of my little leaves too. I need 5 for each card, and I'm going to fussy cut those. And again, you can substitute out a little leaf punch, or you can substitute out a die cut leaf. You've got the paper here to do what you like with. I love this little leaf, and I like to fussy cut. So I'm going to get to cutting, and I'll meet you right back here to put this card together. Okay, I'm back with my leaves and my squirrels. My squirrel and 4 of the 5 leaves for each card is going to get some little dimensionals on the back. So let's get that. And then let me slide these guys to the side for just a minute. And we'll look at the rest of the pieces for the kit here. So here's our card and our bases. All right, in the kit, you're gonna find the die cutting done for you, but let me show you what we've got here in case you're cutting your own. So we use the Tasteful labels and the Bumblebee cardstock and cut 2 of the largest label. And now back to this Ornate Frames dies. We cut 2 of this using the cork paper. Now, if you have not seen this, you have to check it out. I love that I got to put some in the kit for you. It is the thinnest little shaved layer of cork, and it's got almost like a natural fiber paper backing. I'd say that it's cork laminated onto this natural fiber paper. It's flexy and soft, but it's got that gorgeous natural cork feel. It's a wonderful paper. If you haven't gotten any, check it out. Right, then from Early Espresso, we have Scallop Circle. This is done with the Layering Circles dies, and it's a 2 1/4 inch, which layers perfectly with that 2-inch circle. And then the last one we did for you from Misty Moonlight is my favorite Swoopy Square from the Hippo and Friends dies. So let's go ahead and layer all of these 4 pieces together. They just get layered together with liquid glue. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere and make this stack into 2 label layers. We got our circle onto our scallops, and then our scallops onto our Misty Moonlight, and then the Misty Moonlight onto the Bumblebee. Looking good, and we'll do 1 for each card. Now our cork labels, we're going to go ahead and cut them both in half. And we're going to mat them right on to our greeting label. So we're going to use that cut down the middle to extend, make it a little bit longer. You can just use some liquid glue on either end of the vanilla label, and then just make an equal border mat on each side. And 1 for the other card. Squee. All right, now our card bases. Let's adhere our designer series paper to the card bases. We've got the 2 by 3 pieces. We're just going to go ahead and glue them on with some liquid glue. We're going to leave a little gap in between the papers that the label's going to fill. We still want the papers to kind of fill the card. So let's go ahead and glue those all down. 1, 2, 3 pieces with liquid glue for both cards. All right, our labels are all on there. Now, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, let's go ahead and glue the greeting right across the bottom. The littlest bit of bumblebee is going to peek out, and it's going to be just slightly off of center. Ah, so cute. Now our squirrels are peel and stick, so let's go ahead and add them. The little star of the show. So cute. Adorable. Now, we've got 4 leaves that have dimensionals and 1 that does not. So let's go ahead with the 4 dimensional leaves on each card. We'll go 2 high and 2 low. There, and then set aside. Now, the fun part. I love this diamond weave ribbon. You can use it just like it is, and it's a gorgeous trim. It ties up into a big bow beautifully. But for this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make just kind of a teeny little bow. Just a teeny little one. They're going to cut it off. Then we're going to take it apart. So let me tell you about how many inches that is. That's a little bit less than 10 inches. It's more than enough. But now we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut along and cut the wide border edge off. We're going to cut the diamond center right out. We're going to get left with this thin cotton ribbon. It's got kind of a frayed edge. And we'll get 2 pieces for 2 bows out of this one 10-inch length. So I'll go ahead and I'll finish cutting off first one side, and then the other, till I have 2 pieces of this narrow cotton ribbon. Okay, so I've got my 2 little narrow pieces of cotton ribbon, and I'm going to go ahead and tie a cute little bow. I just love this. I love this ribbon that it can have the 2 different, very different looks. In our third video, we're going to use it whole, and look at that. So it's gorgeous either way, isn't it? All right, so let's put this little bow on with a glue dot, and then we're going to embellish it with a leaf using a glue dot. Just pick up a glue dot on the back of the knot, add it to the greeting, and then a little glue dot on the back of the leaf, and then put the leaf on the knot. And we can trim away the excess on the tails here. Cute, right? All right, let's do our other bow. Aren't they so cute? Oh my gosh. Now, last thing, we got to get our little brushed metallic dots. Now, these are currently on back order. They're expected the same day that you're watching this video, if you're watching it on its premiere. But if you order a kit, kitchentablestamper.com/shop, please note that your kit will not ship immediately, as I'm waiting for these metallic dots to get here. If you order a kit, I'll keep you in the loop about timing, but just know that these kits probably will not ship until next week. All right, so we've got this little brass one. We're going to add one up here, and then another one, and then a third one, and then let's do a copper one for this guy. Got a copper one. Look at how beautiful they are. I love these embellishments. I hope they carry over into the annual catalog. All right, so there's our brass, copper, and gold. And they've got this nice matte finish and a little brushed texture. All right, guys, if you've got any questions about the card, if there's anything I can do to help you stay crafty, email marisa@kitchentablestamper.com. To shop Stampin' Up 24/7, buzz over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net. And to check to see on the availability of class packets, buzz over to kitchentablestamper.com/shop and filter in the right-hand menu for class packets. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in video number 2.